first race, lining up just a short course, 3 laps, 2 portages, each lap of about 1,200 meters. Some very big names in this one. Renata Che, and just backing on, last one on, top of your picture, Vanda Kisley. Second last, oh, didn't even put it back on the land. Away we go. 4 closest to us, all from Spain, Irati Osa, Brindal, Toledo and Alvarez, all away well. Just above them is Kisley, and just behind her Renata Che, and outside Renata Che towards the top of your picture is going to be Maria Lopez, also from Spain. But for now it's the 4 Spaniards and Kisley.
Vanda Kisley that won the short track in Szeged, the Sprint World Cup last weekend, before Lizzie Broughton from Great Britain.
2 other Hungarians in here as well, Sofia Gixi and Eniko Vaxai, yet to show. And as you can see from the pictures, Portugal's not coming good with the weather, visibility's poor, so for us to see numbers from inside our commentary booth, it's going to be very, very difficult today. They make their way upstream to the first turn. And we're left with a picture of the bleak Portuguese weather.
Yeah, it's raining very heavily, but the water is quite calm. We saw that it was some waves from boats at the start. They had some trouble there. Otherwise, it's flat water and no stream, as it seems.
So surprised to see the Spaniards taking it to them there, Stefan?
Yes.
And we're missing Arquero, one of the best Spaniards, off this list and off tomorrow's list as well. So there are 4 races. Alvarez we've seen before, the other 3, Osa, Brindo and Toledo, are not familiar names to me. So we could be in for a weekend of good racing, because obviously being located where we are, a lot of Spaniards and a lot of Portuguese at this event.
And very, very good Hungarians in this race. Renata Che, who have won most of the races for 2 decades or so, and also Vanda Kisley, who is the new Queen of Marathon, winning last year's World Championship. And also,
I'm going to take issue with that, Stefan. Lani Belcher won the World Championships last
that's
year.
right, absolutely she was, but she beat Renata. So, and then Eniko Vaxai, that also is a very, very good Hungarian.
So front group now, Kisley with 2 Spaniards. Che on the back. I'm not sure who's 4th in that group. Could be Hungarian, judging by the shirt, but nice view of a flag there. And Kisley just taking over the lead for what seems to be the first time. So Hungary, Spain, Spain, Spain again, and Hungary at the back of that group. So coming in for the first portage.
They're doing 3 laps on this short track. 3.4 kilometers in total, 3.6 actually. Last weekend it was 5 kilometers with portage in Szeged, and we saw the Hungarians also there. Renata Che didn't finish, but Vanda Kisley won the race. Now it's even shorter, but it's more portages.
Portage is a beach portage. They're just coming into it now. Reasonably stony, quite soft sand. Tide's high at the moment though, so the portage is pretty much as short as it can be. Later on in the weekend, some of the races will be at low tide, which will probably add a good 50-60 meters to this portage. So boat 34 there, Tanya Alvarez. She's the one we've seen before, and she's certainly taking it to Kisley, coming in for portage number 1. Alvarez 4th in the under-23 World Championships last year, and I think 5th in the sprints at the Europeans last year, also in Portugal, but stepped it up. So it's Alvarez from Kisley, Toledo, Osa, Che, and 6th place Jenna Ward, who we haven't mentioned yet. Vaksai and Riosa from Estonia at the back there, 8th. So far there's 12 starters listed for this race. Away goes Alvarez, away goes Kisley, a little bit tentative. Toledo latched on to Kisley, should get a ride back to the front of this. Che just a few lengths down with Jenna Ward to her right. Riosa there in the black shirt. Hopefully by the end of the weekend we'll adjust the camera angle so we can see down to the entrance of the portage there, or the exit rather. So first 6 from this race will go through to a final, and there's 2 heats, so that's 12 in the final already, and the rest of that 20 for the final is made up of the 8th best times. And there's a view of it's not really a tourist shot, is it, that one? It's not. That doesn't say come to Portugal, does it? That's it. So they go up for their second of 3 top turns. Race was looking fairly well organised. Alvarez taking it to them. Then it was Kisley, and she was given a ride back up to second Spaniard. And then Renata Che, 4th, away from the portage. So the short races are relatively new to the programme, Stefan. I mean, what are we thinking it adds to the weekend?
I think when we implemented it 3 years ago, it was to encourage sprint paddlers as well to do marathons, and also encourage people to practice portages and develop their skills across the course. And I think it has been a success, actually. It's very popular among the athletes, and now also sprint racing has picking it up.
It's interesting, Stefan, you say that at the 5K at the sprints last week, the Hungarians opted to put a portage in. And although the coverage wasn't great for all that, the one thing that stuck out on the internet this week is the incident just before the first portage in the women's race. So it's the one thing that's caught people's attention from that whole weekend, is the 5K with the portage in.
Absolutely, it creates some more action to it, and sports nowadays is to the extreme. It should be very, very fast, a lot of action, or very, very endurance and more or less crazy. And I think these races are catching up on that.
So Kisley from Alvarez, Renata Che making a good effort to close that gap now.
They are safe.
Look like it's closing.
They are safe. I think they can relax and save strength for tomorrow and Sunday, because Sunday it's the long races.
With 6 through, yeah, that's a very good point, Stefan. I mean, they're working quite hard, considering
Yeah.
there's 6 through and only 4 in the shot. Che's closed that gap quite comfortably. So Kisley, Alvarez, Jay.
It's of course always some prestige among these girls, and they want to, as it is the first race of the year, they want to show some strength as well. So it's not only about getting a position for the final.
Really impressed by Alvarez there. She looks comfortable.
Yeah, very.
Just coming into the portage now. You can see the beach there. It's reasonably steep up to the grass at the top. They run along the grass. They're getting out the boats. Both tidy. Alvarez just lost the boat a little bit there out to the right. Little gap still. Renata Che emptying her boat. I think she's accepted that with 6 through, this isn't going to be a problem for her. And it's Toledo, 4th person in that group. Just coming down the portage there, 5th place. So these are the top 6. 31 is Irati Osa from Spain. Jenna Ward latching on to Che. That's a nice little ride up to the next group. So 41 and 32 is Lopez and Brindo from Spain. Not in the top 6, so they are going to have to hurry.
But the thing is that it's timing for the next stage, so they should go as hard as they can. Never give up.
8th place there, Vaksai from Hungary.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have predicted that based
No.
purely on the fact that she's from Hungary. To be fair, I don't know her from.
She have done some marathons and some good ones over the years. Used to be among the girls that are fighting for the medals.
That's Marie Mix from Germany at the back. I mean, last year still a junior, 9th in the Junior World Championships, and quite a long way off the pace, so not real surprised to see her fighting it a bit today. And I think she's racing in the long race tomorrow as well. And, it's going to be a tough weekend for Maria. So there's Maria, and she is catching up a very grumpy looking Sophia Gixie there. She's not looking too cheerful. Maria not really taking care of her rudder getting in either.
Wonder if they have understood that it is timing for the next coming 8 positions after the 6.
Or maybe they've just seen that slipped away now already, and maybe it's not for them. So quick recap of the course. The start just to our right, first lap, about 600 meters up to the top, 600 meters back and out at the portage. It's 1 lap. Second lap, exactly the same, and where they're going up, it's the yellow line now. They're on their final turn, and they will come straight into the finish, which is pretty much directly in front of us and at the exit of the portage.
The pouring rain has stopped a little bit.
Not that you'd know it from the assembled crowd on the pontoon there. Stocks in sun cream are low this weekend. So we can see people headed back towards the finish. 2 boats sort of right at the top of your screen there at the top turn. And here we come into the finish. It's Kisley and Alvarez. They're going to be across the line, comfortably qualified for the finals. So 1-2, Kisley, Alvarez, no real stress.
Kisley, who won in Segede as well, and have done many good races already this year in South Africa and other continents. She's a marathon professional and still quite young.
So Che, Toledo and Ward, that's 3, 4 and 5.
Jenna Ward is also the South African, is also a coming girl, still young, having done many good results on the
Nina
marathon
Riosa
courses already.
in the last guaranteed place from this race, and then it's all down to time for the next few finishes. There's 8 of the fastest finishers will qualify. Kisley not troubled at all. .31 there. Irati Osa in shot, and just behind her was one of the Hungarians. So as the tail enders come in, the contenders for the next race are going out. Next race we got a good mix of nationalities: Spain, Great Britain, Czech Republic, Australia, Italy, Sweden, France, Hungary and Portugal, all in the next one. First one was mainly a Hungary versus Spain battle with a South African, German and Estonian chucked in, but the next one much more international affair. So 2 heats of women followed by 2 heats of men. C1s, couple of scratches at the team leaders meeting meant that that's now a straight final. And that will be on tomorrow morning, relatively early. About 10:45 tomorrow morning is when we start racing. That's with the junior finals of this short track event. Adrian Boros on screen there, multiple world medalist, one of the stars of the discipline at the moment. Obviously a busy man, taking phone calls even when he's at the canoe events. We'll assume that's a press call. Sponsors phoning him, make sure he's publicising them well.
It's still 20 minutes to start for him, so.
Just a few minutes to go to the start of the second heat of the women's short race. In this one, we've got Spain, Great Britain, Czech Republic, Australia, Italy, Sweden, France, Hungary, Portugal. Rain's slowed down slightly, the wind's dropped slightly, but you can see from the shots you're getting that sunshine is not in big supply here in Portugal. So we got some good races in this one. Stand out in this one, number 51, Sofia Chelai-Vorosh. So Chelai-Vorosh, second in the under-23 World Championships last year and second at the European Championships. Also, just turning in front of the other girls who are lined up there, Jenny Withers, just about to back in. Looks like she's not sure there's enough room for her. That's the trouble with these start lines. They do line you up very close together. It's a little bit of an experience and not necessarily a positive one when you're lined up that close to people. It's always a little bit tense. 46, just poking out the front there, Isabel Nielsen from Australia. Closest to us, Tania Fernandez from Spain. Second up, Maya Wallace from Richmond Canoe Club. She stood in for Alex Lane, medalist at the under-23 Worlds last year. Nicely away at the start. And it certainly seems from the two heats we've seen that the near side of the landing stage gets a better start than the far side. And that's to do with the way the river works here. There's a big back eddy. 51, top of your picture there, Chelai-Vorosh, the athlete of class. Maya Wallace doing a great job just to hang in there at the moment. But certainly those on the left side of the landing stage have a big advantage. A little bit of a coming together there between the Czech and somebody else who I can't identify quickly enough to tell you. That's Lenka Hrchova from Czech Republic. Maya Wallace just lost touch with those front two. Jenny Withers on the outside of the group there, and the Australian Nielsen also in the running. But that's going to come into play even more when the fields are stretched over the whole landing stage later on in the weekend. There's a big flow going down the middle of this river. The river flows towards us as we are looking at the screen now, out to sea, just a couple of K to our right. And the flow there means that people on their GPSs while they're out training
depends actually on the tide,
obviously. But both races have split quite dramatically from the left to the right of that pontoon.
Yesterday, when they were training, it was 2 kilometers upwards and 6 kilometers downstreams, the same distance, counting the tide.
So Chelai-Vorosh has ripped into this field. She's broken away by 2 or 3 lengths. Fernandez leading at the start from the left-hand side of the pontoon has now lost touch with her completely. Maya Wallace still in 5th position there, but she was also well away at the start. And Jenny Withers, 4th place. Fernandez 2nd, and in 3rd place, we'll get that to you at some stage. I'm guessing Amélie Kessler, maybe from France. So here's the course. Start line, they've just gone round that top turn. They're coming back towards us now. Then when they get to us, it's round the turn, over the portage, and repeat that for the entire second lap. On the third lap, which is yellow, round the top turn and straight in to the finish. So Chelai, Voros, a class apart in this field, and it's going to be a fair old race between her and Kisley in the final, I think. But now we have to add to that Tanya Alvarez, who was also very strong in that first race. But that's some gap opened up now. So second group of 5 athletes. So Sofia Chelai-Voros putting on a bit of a display for us here today. Second group of 5. So those 6 are guaranteed qualifiers if it stays like this. Then back to the Czech Republic and Maya Wallace, 7th and 8th. But actually with the numbers out here, it's going to be top 8 qualify for sure for the final. And then 4 fastest losers. So we got France, Great Britain, Spain and Australia. But first into the portage and under no real stress at all. So sorry to desert you on the commentary there, but we're sorting out our dinner arrangements and we've been invited to the special dinner, both Jim and I. We pulled rank there, limited numbers only, but we made it. So Chelai-Voros followed by Fernandez, Withers, Kessler from France, Piazza from Italy, Nielsen from Australia, Chova from Czech Republic, Wallace from Great Britain, Souza from Portugal, and the 2 Swedes at the back for now. But you can see that that group is a big group and a close group. They've all closed in on each other. Hoy from Sweden, surf ski paddler up to this point. This is the first time we've seen her at a marathon event. So everything to play for here. 8 of these people will certainly make the final. And to me, it looks like the tail end of this race is faster than the tail end of the first heat, so I think we may see all of these feature in the final tomorrow. It's a 20 boat maximum for these races.
I think we can see that this race is slightly faster in the back end of it, so there's more chance of the paddlers from this race qualifying for the final than were in the first heat.
Chelai-Voros round the top turn. Chase pack being led by Great Britain's Jenny Withers, who's possibly broken away from the other 3, but maybe that's just the camera angle. But Chelai-Voros not going to be caught, that's for sure. As she goes around the top turn. It's got to be some sort of joy being out there on those ICF boats doing judging on a turn on a day like this. One of the scratches from this heat was Aurora Figueras, one of the stronger of the Spanish marathon paddlers in recent history. A couple of their strong paddlers were scratched at the team leaders meeting. Although frankly, the Spanish team leader looked a little bit confused by a lot of that team meeting. I'm not sure if his paddlers have actually been told they have been scratched now, even though they've turned up. You can't beat a multilingual meeting for a bit of confusion. So Chile coming down for second and final portage with a gap of some 40 seconds probably, actually maybe even closer to a minute. Castelo Voros, he's got a lot to live up to. It's so hard obviously to get into the senior team. More entries allowed at these World Cups than at a World Championships or a European Championships. So there's some fight for places for the Hungarians. To get in the Hungarian women's team, you have to be a world medalist. That's pretty much a given. And it's, well, a Hungarian assessment race or selection event must be quite something to behold.
Relaxed, very, very nice technique.
Strong boat lifts every time she pulls. But she's still putting quite a lot of effort in. Tidy stand up and hop out. Gets deep relatively quickly. You can't get out too far out. Nice little jog through the portage. There's no pit lane on the short events, so there's no feeding. There's also no penalty box, but if anyone does earn a penalty, that's added onto their time at the end of the race rather than stopping them as they would in the long events. Very tidy getting in. But of course it's easy to be very tidy when you're under no load at all and no stress at all.
It was a very, very nice technique there. She didn't put her hand on the boat at all, just jumped in.
So Fernandez and Withers, followed by Kessler, Piazza. That's those four. France and Italy, following Great Britain and Spain. Then a bigger gap back, some 20 seconds nearly to the Czech and Australian. And moving up well through the field is Anderson, who was tail 2, the back last time. She's gone past Wallace and Souza. So the main pack away well. That's Fernandez, Withers, Piazza and Kessler on the right of your shot. So all the way down to Anderson. They're safe. They're going to be in the final. 9, 10 and 11 still have work to do. So on her own, behind that group of 4, Nielsen from Australia. Anderson on her own behind that. Something must have happened to Rachova there, because she was 6th into the portage by the look of it, and she's certainly not 6th now. So maybe took a swim at the portage. And Portugal. Great Britain have also been overtaken by Hoy from Sweden over that portage. So around the top turn for the last time goes Castelo Voros. Should be cruising into the finish in about 2 minutes. No one else in sight yet, no one round that top turn. You can see the moving water pushing her downstream.
Good notice from the television shots and looking out, of course, the river flow is definitely affecting the movement of the boat as they come down from that round turn. Last time down to the finish. There's one boat from Hungary who was running the lead there, obviously, and then we've got group 5 after. The next one's still got a fight to make sure they get to that final.
So Hungary, chase pack now being led by France. Italy to the right, Great Britain tucked in the back, Spain just dropping off the back, and Australia. Just round the turn is Sweden, followed by Czech Republic, followed by Sweden again. So Castelo Voros untroubled, 50 metres to go to the finish, and heat 2 comes to a close. No problems at all. And now for the tail enders, it's a wait to see who qualifies. She hasn't slowed down after the finish line. She's on a mission, the girl. So France leading the chase group. That's Amelie Kessler. To her left, Gaia Piazza, and on the back, Jenny Withers. So that's the first 4. Next across the line, Fernandez, followed by Nielsen from Australia.
Emma Anderson.
And it's going to be Sweden again.
Finishing 7th. She might be qualified.
Rochova is 8th. I'm pretty sure 7th and 8th will qualify,
Yeah.
just based on numbers alone. Then from Sweden is Hannah Hoy.
Hannah Hoy, that is doing her first short track internationally, coming from the surf ski
Maya Wallace, her
environment.
first international experience, finishes with Sousa from Portugal. Did really well off the start. Just got outgunned by the older, more experienced athletes over the course. But your international career has to start somewhere. Quite a few first-timers here at this event. And a lot of the countries are using the World Cups for that, Stefan. There's a couple of B teams, if you like, here.
Yes, absolutely, and it's a free entry to the World Cup, so each nation can participate with as many athletes they want to. So it's a perfect way to start the international career.
Some great footwear there by the officials, Stefan. The
Yeah.
plastic bag footwear. Plastic poncho and plastic bags on your feet. ICF official uniform, I believe. I think it's ICF uniform, not Portuguese creativity. I think that's the uniform for all officials. Yep, the plastic bag, looking good.
These ICF officials that is traveling around doing this event on their own, more or less on their own costs. And now we will wait 5 minutes or so for the next start.
Okay, on the line now. Top of your screen, Tom Sharp, Great Britain. Nearest to us, Barry Watkins. It does seem this left-hand side of the pontoon has a bit of an advantage on the start. But the big names in this one, I think Watkins, always very fast off the start. So as previously, it's definitely the left-hand side of the pontoon, doing slightly better. In the middle of your shot is Spaniard, boat 68, which, oh no, sorry, that's German, boat 68, Janis Viana. That doesn't look right. Maybe let's give a check on you later on that, but it's Watkins. Viana doing a great job there. Is Matt Johnson from Great Britain. I think there's no doubt that if you could choose which side of the pontoon you start, you would start on the left-hand side. Group coming together quite nicely. It's split. There's about 6, 7 in that front part. Tom Sharp has come to the left-hand side quite wisely, I think, and he's making his way up separate from the group. So leader Romalo now, Barry Watkins and Adam Petro. They're the 3 main players in this. Tom Sharp and Matt Johnson doing a great job. Tightly packed group. Again, it's 6 to the final for sure, and then the 8 fastest times outside of those top 6. So round the turn goes Romalo. Petro on his inside, Watkins on his outside, tucked in the back. Not sure, but it's Tom Sharp outside him. And the Spaniard just going around the turn buoy now. So we'll get proper name checks when we get the on-screen graphic over the portage. So 9 in touch with that first group. It's a nice big group. It's going to be quite hectic coming into the portage. So there's Romalo, Watkins, Petro, Sharp, Johnson, Petro to the right of Romalo there. One of my favourite racers, always races very intelligently. You very rarely see him make a mistake, and this is the first year we've seen him mixing it internationally in the seniors. He's been junior world champion, under 23 world champion, but as we've seen many times in the past, it's a big jump up to the senior ranks. But nice group of 9. They're opposite us now. There's 2 boats just off the back of that 9, which includes the Czech and a Spaniard. So 9 coming in to the first portage. You're probably going to see a couple of errors getting out of the portage with this many boats. It's going to be interesting. Romalo won't be one of those making an error, I don't suppose, nor will Petro. They're the 2 with experience. So Romalo, Petro and Watkins, they seem safe for now. Tom Sharp, closest to us, should also be safe. He's got a nice position there. Johnson coming round fast on the outside, making room for himself, doing a great job. 75 on the inside is Pablo Solares. Romalo, up and out and away. So easy when it's done well. And things can go wrong so quickly. Matt Johnson's done a superb exit from his portage. Being hassled. Italian's lost his paddles there, and that was his own fault. He tried to squeeze Johnson onto the railings. Johnson was having none of it, did a great job to hold his ground, and the Italian had to go back for his paddle. So away go the top three with Johnson, who is having a superb race here. Solares, the Spaniard, just off the back of that group. Tom Sharp, the next one out. He's with Viana from Germany. Bonacina, the paddle dropper, just behind him. Then Czech Pavlik, and with them is wow, Baruta Viana. They can come up with a name, the Spaniards, can't they? So 9 away still. 10 away rather. 10 in contention. 5 in the front group. Johnson doing a superb job in that front group. First senior international experience for Johnson from Great Britain, and he's with some really big names up the front of this race. They're being stretched out now though by Watkins on that top turn. So it's Watkins, Romalo and Petro. Johnson just about maintaining contact. He's keeping Solares in contact with that group as well. And we'll join you as soon as we can. Quick overview of the course. Start 600 meters up to the top turn and back to the start. First portage, out and round, same again for the second lap in red, back round the portage, third lap in yellow, round the top turn and straight to the finish line. So on the water, those front three eking out just a small lead. All 5 are safe, I would say. So it's Watkins, Romalo and Petro. Never seen Petro do a solid day's work in his life. Great racer. He's always there and he always comes good at the finish of the long races. It's going to be really interesting to watch him tomorrow or Sunday in the long race. One of my favourite racers, without a doubt. Only a little small fella. He's tiny, isn't he? He stood next to some of his compatriots. Both he and Boros are really quite small guys.
Yeah. Very endurant.
Solares now. You can see a V-wash up there, just 2 or 3 lengths away. A good portage will see him get back in contact with these 3. And still clinging on to Solares is Johnson.
So Barry Watkins for Ireland leading to the second portage.
No real stress at the front of this race. 6 to go through. Solares just in sight there, bow of his boat, hoping to come out the portage back in contact with these 3. So Watkins first to stand. Romalo and Petro both coming in a lot closer to the beach before they jump out. Solares just a few lengths down with Johnson. No one running particularly hard over the portage. So Romalo first back into his boat. Watkins maintains his lead though. Petro comfortably away, straight onto the half V behind the other two. Nobody particularly keen to take it on. Solares and Johnson, they're on their own now, just behind. And then it's Sharp and Bonacina, about 10 lengths behind there. There they are now, there's Bonacina. Sharp just to his right.
Could be tough between these two.
Only one
safe.
place
Yes.
for sure goes to one of those guys. Somebody's going to lose out on automatic qualification. But there's still the 8 fastest losers to go through, and I would think that one of those would get that. So Viana paddling alongside Pavlik as they make their way up to the top turn for the final time. Top 3 untroubled. So around the top turn goes Watkins, Romalo, happy to let him lead. Petro always happy to let anyone lead. And they've got
until the finish.
Until the finish, he's always very, very sharp. His positioning in the lead up to the finishes is what always impresses.
Yeah.
He always gets himself out of trouble at the right time.
And a very good portage here as well.
Yeah. So Watkins leads this one. One scratch from this race was Jeremy Candy, with the French guy, and he's good on the short races normally. All the French are. And
France has a very good team now with four guys that could be, all of them could be
all at world class level. Yeah. So Bonacina making a break from Tom Sharp in the far distance. There's only one place. Bonacina's gone wide. Sharp's cut in to get back with Solares and with Johnson. So it's game on for those 6 places. It's 7. The first 3 are away. Then Solares looks safe. Johnson on his left. Tom Sharp seems to have made contact with them again. Oh, we're having our windows cleaned in here as well. We can actually see out through the window now, so we can commentate live and from screen at the same time.
Bonacina is coming now. So
it's really tight. It looks like Tom Sharp's the one who's suffering. He's going to be the 7th place as it stands. Johnson also struggling to hold on to Solares, and it's going to get very, very tight for that 6th place. But here at the front, it's Watkins from Petro from Romalo. No stress at all. Solares is safe in 4th place. It's a big race in now. It's Solares in 4th, Bonacina 5th, Johnson 6th. There's guaranteed qualification. Sharp in 7th. I think we can assume Sharp will be okay on time with 8 fastest losers.
it was quite a quick race, so that should be.
Barutia Viana next through. Then it's Janis Werner coming in ahead of Pavlik from the Czech Republic. Meanwhile, we get treated to a view of the local favourite, Romalo. Stefan, Worlds is in Portugal this year. Romalo has been so close for so long.
Yes, he has, and I think it is the goal of his lifetime to win at his home turf here this September.
You have to feel maybe he needs to change his race plan a little and his method. It's so hard to take on the South Africans now over the last 200 meters.
Yeah.
He hasn't historically had the turn of speed that gives him that advantage, and every time it happens the same way.
And he's tried to get free, so he won't suffer from that. But that's not easy either with the South Africans. So
Or with any of the world class.
No,
to drop somebody and to make that break.
But remember in the Europeans in Slovenia a couple of years ago when he did that.
He did it, but you also remember the cost of that when he was vomiting in the officials' cabin afterwards. I mean,
it was really tired. But I think that's the tactics he need to try to approach. And then it will be interesting to see if Pimenta is coming to the Worlds as well. He did a very good 5,000 meter previous weekend.
He paddled away from the field last weekend in Szeged, and he won the 1,000 as well. I'm sure he'll be on international duty in the sprints all year, but it's not Olympic qualification this year, so maybe the stress isn't on. Maybe he will come and race in his hometown.
So much going on in Portugal this year. We have this World Cup, and then the Sprint World Championships and the Marathon World Championships coming up. And now I also think they will have the stand-up paddling World Championships in Portugal. So
yeah, they do. I think the same weekend as the surf ski.
Four big events. 5 actually.
So finished Heat 1, and we will move on to Heat 2. More big players in Heat 2.
It's 5 minutes to go.
Adrian Boros on the track in the next one. He was second in the 5K last weekend in Szeged. We've got Christian Mate, who's always featured so highly in the first half of all the long races. Fades towards the end often, but he's got several medals to his name already.
And Quentin Urban, who was third last weekend in Szeged, is also in that heat. Quentin Urban from France, one of the very good guys from France.
And on the far side will be Stéphane Boulanger, one of the others.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's another good field. Maybe the first race, possibly slightly stronger on balance, but we got 3 French. We got Edwin Lucas in this as well. So 2 Hungarians, 3 French. A couple of Italians. Graziani is also one of the front runners in the early stages of all the long races in the recent history.
And Christian Mate. This is a really tough one.
Christian Mate, third in the under-23s at the Worlds last year. I think he thought he was going to win that.
Final race of the coming up.
Struggles towards the end of some of these races, I think. He does a lot of work. He's somebody who's prepared to put in a lot of work early on. Sometimes there's a cost applied to that. Unbalanced, you think? the start line for the final race of today. Closest to us, Balsamo from Italy. Up from him, Urban from France, Pardo from Spain, Lindberg from Sweden, Boros, one of the big players from Hungary, Lucas from France, Rodriguez from Portugal, Troca from Germany, Fernandez from Spain, Christian Mate from Hungary, Graziani, Italy, Dieguez from Spain, Svensson from Sweden, and Boulanger from France. And another Spaniard at the top of that, whose name is Palmas. Off they go. Top 6, qualified by right. Boat 79, Quentin Urban, one of the favourites for these short races.
And he's always doing quick starts, Urban.
But it's Pardo from Spain. Takes it for now. So Pardo from Urban. From Lucas. Balsamo closest to us in the black boat, Italian top. Lindberg. And then after that, I'm guessing a little bit, so probably best if I shut up. So a quick view of the course from the start line, about 600 meters up to the top turn. Round the top turn, straight back to turn 2. Into the portage for the first time. Repeat that lap, top turn, bottom turn, portage. That's lap 2. Final lap in yellow, top turn, and straight to the finish. About 3.5k-ish in total. A big group as it was in the first heat. At the back of that group, in the green boat, Adrian Boros struggling for position. He'll be working his way up the washes to try and get back in contention. He had a good start draw as well.
He's often doing quite slow starts, Adrian Boros. He told me last year he wasn't fond of starts, but he is not panicking for that. He now knows his skill. Last weekend he was second and at 5,000 meters in Szeged. So
the problem with being back there though, Stefan, you just saw it just out of shot.
yeah,
The other guy, I think the other guy he's with had just missed the last buoy anyway, but he also messed up the previous buoy and held Boros back there. So once you're back with the people who aren't quite sure of what they're doing, life gets a little bit dangerous in these races. That's why the good guys always like to be with the other good guys out the front. Things become predictable and you know where you stand. So leading, as he was from the start, is Victor Pardo. Quentin Urban in the red boat. And
they are moving fast now.
I think it's Edwin Lucas this side in the white boat. Tucked in the
There's
back.
Lindberg.
We've got the Italian and Lindberg coming up the outside with a bit of intent there. So that's the top 5, and then there's a big group of 5 or 6 behind them. But they're pressing on here.
Absolutely.
So Victor Pardo, clearly keen to push this along a little bit. Tidily round the first buoy of that turn.
A leading group of 5 round the turn for completion of lap 1. Another group of 6 just after.
Second group now led by Adrian Boros in the green boat. He's going to portage well. There goes Urban into the lead. So the 2 Frenchmen took on Pardo and lead into portage number 1. Lindbergh safe, and it's the Italian Balsamo, who looks like he's going to be caught, and there's a big group behind him. He could easily lose his place in the top 6. But those first 4 are away and clear. Boros just out of his boat now, always very tidy. A couple of people slow. There's a few Spaniard coming wide. So these are the top 4, 2 from Spain, 1 from Sweden, 2 from France rather, 1 from Spain, 1 from Sweden, and Balsamo, if he gets in well, can be back in contact. He's away, just struggling to get his boat moving. Boros is away well, and he's going to close the gap with second Swede. Emil Svensson, Christian Mate in the red and black boat there, also struggling. So it hasn't been a great race for 2 of the big names in this one. So we've got 4 in the front, followed by 3, that's 7. Only 6 of those qualified by right. Christian Mate making his way back to those 3. He'd have to favour his chances if it comes to a sprint at the end.
Watch Boros now, moving out far out to the left.
Far out to the left, I think it's a good idea. There's a massive back eddy in this bay here, and I think that's a great idea. It's obviously not a direct route to that buoy, but I think a good idea. Italian doesn't think it's a good idea. He's made a break for the main pack again. But Boros and Svensson.
He lost a couple of boat lengths on that move, Boros.
But safe in the top 6 now for Boros. It's hard to see him losing touch now. So Urban leads, Torstensen, no, Lindbergh, sorry, I'm losing it. And struggling to get round that turn was Lucas.
I think we can see on the going around those buoys that the paddlers are not giving themselves enough room to counter the flow. They're coming very close to all the buoys as they come around that turn. Some in the first race, find out later, maybe some time penalties, at least 3 or 4 boats inside the buoys on that turn.
So while these guys make their way back to the second portage, we've got the times for the women's short race. There's a short list of 3, which is Ocean, Brindo, Sophia Gixie and Marie Mix. They're the 3 who didn't make the cut for the final. So if your name's not on that list, you can come in. And there's 20 boats in the final. Only 3 got knocked out from those women's heats. A few more will go from the men's. And it looks to me these 3 are clearly going to be in that final, as are the 3 behind them, which is Sweden, Hungary and Spain. These are the leaders. Urban, Lucas and Lindbergh.
Close behind, including those 6 on stage, and this is a major problem on the portage for qualifying. It's the race with the 4 in the next group where they've got to work hard to get into the final. So it's a third group of 4 who are fighting for their place in the final.
So through comes Urban. Lindbergh very comfortable with him, and Lucas also untroubled. Up and out. Lindbergh the tidiest of those 3. But no real hurry for any of them. Lindbergh looks good, Stefan. What's his history in these short races?
He is a good sprinter as well, and he has several medals in short track racing back in Sweden. We have done that for a decade or more back there, and it used to be a specialty.
So making a good job of this one. Boros away well. Svensson with him. Pardo, the early leader. Boros again's going left of the group. This time I think it is going to work for him. Lucas is the one who's moved out to the right, struggling to get back on terms with Lindbergh. And it's going to be Pardo in no man's land in the middle there, who's sweating this one out.
Go 1 to 5. There's 3 out there. 2, 3, 4.
So as Pardo makes his way back to those other two, it's Svensson leading from Boros in Group 2, and Pardo is just about hanging on there. First 3 already round the turn. There seems to be problems on the final buoy of this turn. As they move out into the main flow in the river, the flow pushes them onto these buoys here, and so you see Lucas just hit that one again. The flow is pushing them down onto the buoys, and that's how he lost those front 2. All tidily round the final buoy. These 3 are coming in. They're some 20 seconds ahead of Svensson and Boros, who have broken away from Pardo, our early leader, and Pardo is going to have to sweat it out because he looks tired in the background there. There he is on top of his shot, and he's being chased down by the 3rd Frenchman. Could be Boulanger. Really impressed by Lindbergh. No rush for either of these two now, though, at this stage.
Coming into the last 100 metres or so for this final race of the day. First 6 this race, qualified for the...
So 6th through to the final, plus the 8 best times after that. So Lindbergh from Urban, from Lucas. That's 1, 2, 3 in shot there. So Urban, one of the big finishers in this field. Obviously didn't show it there, but he has a turn of speed that can do damage over that last 100 metres. There's Boros and Svensson, and it is going to be Boulanger next. Well, Pardo, who led the early stages, is going to have to wait and see, and he finished also with Christian Mate of Hungary. I would imagine all 3 of those will qualify. Great work from the Swedes on that one. Got to be pleased with that, Stefan.
Absolutely, they have done quite a good job over the winter, and also did well in the Vaterland Marathon previously this year. And then we have had some domestic races where they have also shown good shape. Jocke Lindbergh, that is also a good cross-country skier. He finished in top 50 or so on the Vasaloppet, 90 kilometers, 10,000 skiers.
So that's the limit of our racing for today. A little warm-up for you, the spectators, us the commentators, and indeed the paddlers. As soon as we get results, we will tell you. I don't think they're going to be out quick enough for this broadcast. Certainly in the women's, we know that 3 missed out. That was Ocean Brindo from Spain, Sophia Gixi from Hungary, and Marie Mix from Germany. They're the only 3 women who won't make the final. The men, we're still waiting as those times come up. You can look up the results yourself on canoemarathonportugal.com. All one word, Canoe Marathon Portugal. Spelled exactly how you'd assume it would be. So sixth place, or let's go 7th place in the first heat was Tom Sharp with a time of 13:56. As the times come up for the second race, we'll try and keep you informed. So anything under 14 minutes, there's Christian Mate. He's going to be one of the big players, I'm sure, later on in the weekend. A little bit of a nondescript first heat for him. You'd expect more. Weather's clearing up here. So hopefully by tomorrow it will be much better. That was Eric Trocker we're seeing there in shot from Germany. Didn't see where he finished, but we'll update as soon as we can. So some big names making heavy work of some of their racing this afternoon rather. And certainly for me, but it sounds not for Stefan, some surprises. The Swedes were pretty impressive in that race.